Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Meydan Racecourse here on Friday. It is the 3rd of January 2025. We're going to look at the group races, the stakes races on the program from Meydan. But before I get on to that, remember, please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action races 5 and 6 from Meydan. The fifth race from Meydan, it is the Zabeel Mile. It's going for a purse of $231,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses going to the turf course, the distance of around 1,600 meters or a mile here in the Zabeel Mile. I'm going to take as a top selection the 3-horse Cairo as a top selection, 314 for me in the Tricast trifecta. 314 Tricast trifecta, top selection 3-horse Cairo. This 5-year-old horse by Quality Road. Alice Haynes trains this one. Sylvester D'Souza gets the mount on this UK invader. Most recently, he started here on the 20th of December here at Meydan, 1,800 meters, a mile and the eighth in the local group 2 that day, and he finished second by 6.5 lengths that day, and he was with them early on. The winner measured time for Godolphin really just took off clear and had the jump on this horse. First start in the Middle East, he probably needed the race. I think coming here second off the bench, more, adjusted to the surroundings, I think he can find a trip to win here today. He ran 2 back Windsor on the 24th of August, a mile and a quarter, 2,000 meters in a local group 3 that day, and he finished seventh by 6.5 lengths that day, and he just sat back early, and he had nothing. Absolutely poor performance. The ground was a little bit softer than he likes. I think he's going to adore the fast ground today. Soft ground, he just wheels were spinning and he just never really got into it. Maybe he doesn't want to even go a mile and a quarter. I think a mile and an eighth. Mile today definitely is going to be in his wheelhouse, but just wasn't getting there that day. And then over the 1,800 at Goodwood on the 2nd of August in a handicap there. He finished second by a length that day. He stalked. He had the lead in the lane, but then he just kind of yielded before the wire. Maybe just a mile and eighth got to him there. And then at Royal Ascot, over the mile and a quarter in the Queen Anne, or excuse me, over the mile in the Queen Anne, excuse me, on the 18th of June. He finished eighth that day by 14 and a half lengths. That he just never had the trip. That was some proper Group 1 horses. Sharon really freaked that day. This horse just wasn't getting into it. I think refreshing back here to the Middle East, second off the bench, he's going to be in a more realistic spot to win. I'm going to use him on the ticket. The World Travel, the one horse Oddman Fleet's an interesting horse here. The 6-year-old gelding by See the Stars. Charlie Appleby trains one. William Buick gets the leg up. He ran most recently here in New York at Saratoga, a mile and the 4-star Dave handicap, where he finished third by 5 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked all around the race course and just was flat that day. They did go a little bit slow for the mile, which probably got to him. I also the ground had a little bit given it to, which I don't think he really adored it either. I think he's going to like the fast ground. Back to Meydan, he's going to be in a more realistic spot to win. He ran 2 back at Churchill, a mile and the 16th in a overnight stakes or Group 2 stakes, and he won by 1.5 lengths that day. And he basically stalked all around the race course. When Flavien Pratt said go on him, he really took off clear, and then back at Churchill, mile 16th in a Group 3. He won by length again on the front, and he really won quite easily. His only subpar race of the season, stateside, other than the Saratoga race, was the Fort Marcy and Aqueduct over the mile and eighth, where he finished second by a quarter of a length that day, and he just never really could get going late. He was a little lackadaisical in the lane with that gap at the eighth pole, and I just thought he lost some forwardly momentum that day. I think refreshing here against these quality horses, he could find a trip to win. I'm going to use him on the ticket. But to recap my selections for the fifth from Meydan, it is the Zabeel Mile. We're going to take the 3-horse Cairo, give kudos to the 1-horse Ottoman Fleet. 314 Tricast Trifecta, 3-1 in the multi-race. The co-featured 6th race from Meydan, it is the Dubawi Stakes. It's going for a purse of $190,000, race 4-year-olds and upwards, field of 6 horses, going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the dirt course. I'm going to take the 1-horse Tuz as a top selection, 162 for me in the Tricast Trifecta. 162 Tricast Trifecta, top selection 1-horse Twos. This 6-year-old or 8-year-old gelding by Oxbow, Bupat Shamir trains. Tango Shea, the veteran, gets the mount. Recently, they ran the horse that made on the 6th of December, 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs in a local listed race, and he won by 5.25 lengths today. And he's, basically from a tracking trip, this dirt track is a complete conveyor belt of 4-wheelie pace. And he had that. He stalked, he got the lead, and then he flew home clear late. A respectable time that day for 110 for the 3/4. That was a good return to the race. He's coming here second off the bench. Going to be a lot stronger. Not the world's toughest race here today. I think he can, get the job done here again today. It's going to be a very short price, though. He ran 2 back on the 30th of March here made on 6 furlongs in the Golden Shaheen, and he won by by 6.5 lengths that day, and he put on a show. That was a very impressive race that day. He basically stalked. He found a good turn foot, and then he flew home clear late. A very strong run that day. And then at Riyadh in the Saudi Arabia, 1,200 meters in the Saudi Sprint, he finished 10th that day by 11 lengths, and he just never really showed a lot. He completely hit the wall late. It wasn't his day to win. But back here last year in last year's Dubawi Stakes, he won quite impressively by a length from a good tracking trip. Refreshing here against these quality horses. It wouldn't surprise me. He's been very impressive the last few weeks or few months, shall I say. I think the 6-horse Strobe for Simon and Chrisford and James Doyle could possibly get a piece of it. He's first in their new barn here. They just started him here on a conditions race over the 6 on the dirt here on the 13th of December, where he finished fourth that day by 2.25 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day. He needs something more, but he got around the race course okay for a dirt debut in the Middle East. Prior to that, they took him to Hampton, 7 furlongs in a listed race where he finished second by a half a length that day, and he basically stalked all around the race course. He just missed late, but he ran his heart out that day. In the back at Aqueduct last season, 2023 at Aqueduct here stateside in a allowance race, he finished third by a half a length that day, and he just kind of, stalked, never really had the turn of foot. He showed some pace prior to that at Churchill in the listed race in the spring of 20, or in the fall of 2023. If he could show, forwardly pace like he did in here stateside last season, I think he could win, or 2 seasons ago now. I'm going to give him a shot here at 2 to 1. I think he could possibly upset some of your multi-race wagers. But to recount my selection for the 6 now for Meydan, it is Dubawi Stakes. Going to take the 1-horse twos. Give kudos to the 6-horse Strobe. 162 TriCash Trifecta. 1-6 in the multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5. Good luck, everybody.